Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Travis Told You, another edition of Travis Told You. Yes, we're back for another one. Did 2 weeks in a row. Obviously, next week I'll be off, and then I should be back the weekend after Guardians. We'll see. It's been a strange day. I tell this story as not a way to, because I was talking about this with Dylan the other day on, I think it was the Bo is Afraid review, of like not to get condolences, not to get like birthdays. I never post if it's my birthday. If people find out they post it, great. If it's not, I'm always not being like, hey, it's my birthday, stuff like, it's not a thing. But that's why the next 2 weeks, who knows? Because today, and it's funny, so I'm doing some topics live here. I guess just get rid of that starting soon thing. I'm doing some topics live, and then I'm talking about the box office, and I'm talking about the CM Punk news in just the podcast version. I recorded that earlier, and it's such a weird world we live in, right? Because that audio is recorded before I got the text today that my grandmother passed away on my dad's side. I'm going to try not to break up or cry or anything like that. Had a bunch of cries today. I still work today because it was just better to power through and stuff like that. And that's where it's at. So Travis Told You, we'll see. There could be a funeral coming up the next couple weeks. So that's why I wanted to do one now for sure. But also, just as all usually with Travis Told You, and it's funny, even the CM Punk's news, I talk about second chances in life and everything like that. Just always make sure, I was planning to, it sucks at the beginning of May or like mid-May, we were planning on doing a trip down there to go see her because we had got word that she wasn't doing the greatest, and then got the text day. We literally this weekend like booked the B&B, and that's fine. I'm still going down to see family, everything. It's just Vancouver. But as always, and this was just It seems dumb at the moment. Luckily, we got to go down at the beginning of the new year, and that was a good one because we got to, before the new year, we got to do all the grandkids and stuff like that. Because she's 96, she's had a good life, but I can't remember how many grandkids there was, and it was or like great grandkids. So, God, I think there was like 11 or something like that with my family, my cousins, everything. It was a great day, and I'm happy because it almost didn't work out that we got to go. That was like a family reunion-esque, but as always, as I try to put some, goodwill out there to people, always, I wish I would have got out there sooner, but it was very short notice. It was like 2 weeks ago that my dad said, hey, it's not doing too well. And, things in life, time off stuff, it's tough. Wish I would have got out there sooner, but I'm happy I got there before. But as always, like I said, if you ever think that, yeah, I'll have time, it might go away. And like I said, I don't have regrets because we got to go down there and it was good, but I would have liked to see her one more time when we got the, hey, things aren't going well. But it was a very quick turnaround. And luckily my dad said that it was kind of probably for the best. She wasn't doing the greatest. So what Travis Told You, as I'm looking at, not for condolences, just looking at as far as we'll see in May where it ends up being and stuff like that. So yeah, it was a shitty start today. So like I have news to talk about today. I don't know if I'm as animated, and so maybe, why are you doing this? It's good to just take your mind off. I think that's helped because it's just kind of a good processing. I'm gonna be doing all the ugly crying and whatnot when I see the other family. That's always the toughest, right? Especially talking my dad down the phone. That was tough. He's taking it well, but yeah, it was a tough day. But anyways, let's talk about this as usual. Thank you very much, Heinz. Yeah, no, it's good. And like, luckily, it's I don't really have any family members that had a fall and everything. Great memories. When I talk about how I grew up in the States, me and her spent a lot in the States because she's the one that her and my grandfather bought the cabin down there, the trailer, and it's like this part of this community. So I have lots of great memories. And so when she had a full big life, even after my grandfather passed away, she wasn't one of those that went, whoa, what's going on with the camera? I think I'm still alive, right? I think the flash just interrupted my screen for the video. It's like, but anyways, nothing but good memories. She had a full life. She's not someone that her husband passed away and just became a recluse. She went on and did a bunch of stuff. So this one's for Doreen Snail. I'm not gonna cheers because I have nothing, but Doreen Snail, thank you for everything. And it's gonna be a tough couple weeks, but in the Nerdum, at least we got stuff going on, and I'm going to do links quickly. It's all down below. You know where to find it because I got about an hour here. There might be one point in 25 to 30 minutes. I'll step out to take some tater tots out, breaking the fourth wall. Just have to. It's a shortened schedule because I got to record another podcast later today, and that's shortened. So lots of stuff. But everything you need to know down below. Later on this week, we'll probably be doing like a mini town hall release. Patrons, you'll be getting some notifications of that soon, but just some changes, nothing major, and kind of a goal we want to do to help us out. But let's get to the Flash right now. We got other stuff. So yeah, I'll be talking about the Flash, Cinemacon, this Kraven news. Pardon me as I pull up the trailer because I did not have it pulled up. So the Flash debuted its trailer today. They're screening it. I wanted to do it after, but it just didn't work out. They're screening it literally in about 30 minutes, so we're gonna get all the reception. And I guess at the same time, the reason I didn't wait for that as well is because I just feel like Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's just with test screenings. Maybe, wouldn't that be the silliest thing? Like all the test screenings I've been, oh, positive people are loving this movie, and this thing just gets fucking roasted by critics today in their social media bar. Like, I think they're gonna do like a lot of this meets the hype. Like, I think it's gonna be reaction. Like, that's how good the buzz has been with this. That if it were to be a negative response, everybody would be shocked because like nothing but positive things. James Gunn, Zazoff said all this. We didn't get anything more on the 10-year plan. Zazoff kind of said then. I guess it's just about like Aquaman, Flash, Little Blue Beetle, so it's technically part of the 10-year plan. We'll talk a little bit more about those. There's not much to say, but they did say again that this is resetting the DC universe. So I'm taking this very much as a flashpoint in a way. We've talked about this before, but even more so now. And then even though they want to keep saying that Superman Legacy is the start of the universe, well, I don't know. It's still weird, right? Because I was gonna say you got Blue Beetle, but then you got Aquaman that has some baggage. Who knows? We'll see. Flashpoint the way it's gonna mix stuff up. This trailer, I liked it. I think I don't. And Maddie asked me this too in the Patreon. Go to Patreon. Editing too. You can ask questions for any of the shows when we put them out there. Some change will be happening. That nothing just added. Nothing. Nothing taken away. What did this trailer do for my hype expectations? It's pretty much the same. As I said before, I'm not a fan of Ezra Miller as the Flash. They do look not better, but they look. I'm enjoying what I'm seeing from this trailer so far more than what I've seen in the past. It doesn't look as comedic. It looks like they're going to have the other Barry, new Barry, be more comedic, and our Barry be maybe more serious, more seasoned a bit. I'm not saying he's going to be no jokes, but there was too much jokes for me. As someone that enjoys the MCU, sometimes think there's too many jokes. Too much jokes for me with that Flash and stuff like that. I'm not the biggest fan of the performance. But I love Andy Muschietti. I like the concept of Supergirl, like the concept of Flashpoint in a way, the storyline, sure. I can agree with other people as far as, hey, should have been a smaller story, maybe, but at the end of the day, I'm not going to lie and be like, I would sacrifice the smaller story to get Keaton back. Now, I still would want Keaton back for like a Batman Beyond, but that's what we're getting, right? And we're getting Keaton. So my excitement was just, hey, we're getting Keaton back. And then once we got the first trailer, it's like, okay, this looks very epic, and not in like the epic movies where it's just epic. It has a big event feel to it. And this trailer to me is just kind of a similar to the other one. There's some new shots, of course. I think now I don't need a third trailer, and luckily it's only a couple months away. TV spots I'll avoid, scenes I'll avoid. I think I've definitely seen enough, but I feel like this was one of these trailers where it's just like a little bit more of a scene. It's showing Kara in that fight scene with Zod, but a little bit more with Barry and Bruce, so that's what I like. And even both Bruces and stuff. Same thing with the Ben Affleck thing. They're just using like different angles and different shots of him on the bike and stuff like that. So that's all good. That's all jolly and well done. So I think it's the exact same, because I'd say before it was just Keaton, but then the trailer was like, okay, this looks like an event film, and all comic book movies should be different. They all shouldn't be event films, but when you get one that is an event film and it feels like that, like even look at Guardians. To me, that doesn't feel like an event film. That feels like it's a send off to characters and even a director we love, right? But that doesn't look like an event film. And then there's times where something like Eternals, where I think like it tried to be an event film and its plot at times, that's where you go, this wasn't needed here. So I think this is needed. It feels good. I liked the trailer a lot. I'm liking everything. I think they were very smart to give Keaton more screen time in this, because of course he was in the first trailer a lot, but just as Batman. There was no just Michael Keaton shots as Bruce, right? So I think that's smart for anybody that might go, what Batman is this? Is fully setting up, this is the Batman you know and love, which I like. Today they confirmed that, hey, this is set 30 years after Batman Returns, because I think we talked about it sometime last year, and this is, who knows, with things changing, maybe it was just a bad rumor, but there was a rumor going around that he's Batman, but he's not Burns Batman, he's just a Batman. That's fucking dumb. That's dumb, because why do we love seeing Andrew again, Toby again? Because that's our Spider-Man. Why would we see love Keaton, or why would we love seeing Keaton again? It's our Batman, or for some people, our Batman. And Keaton's not my favorite Batman, but I love Keaton. I love so many of the Batmans, right? So see any of them come back is always a thrill. And I think this trailer was really good. I think they've done everything right. The marketing, the hype, they're doing all these screenings. And like I said, tonight's the next step, because all these reactions are going to come out. And I think they will be positive. I think people will be very happy with it. They're just little scoopers I've talked about too. At the same point, like I said, could you just imagine if it wasn't, it took a turn? Maybe the most you see is people saying, Oh, it's getting overhyped because the better than the Dark Knight, which shows how much weight the Dark Knight carries, right? We're still in this age of Logan, Joker, Spider-Verse. You can even count like Endgame or something like that. What's another kind of runner-up of the past few years? Even the Batman, right? Doesn't matter. It's still the GOAT. And I still believe that. I've said this before. I have a struggle all the time, like what my favorite movie is now between the Batman and the Dark Knight. I absolutely love the Dark Knight. It's this pitch perfect Joker performance, all these things, but then the Batman is like a movie I feel like ripped out of my head. But to put that aside, I still feel like which one's better? I do lean towards the Dark Knight. So this better than the Dark Knight or good as the Dark Knight? That's a risky game because you're putting it on the thing that's been considered the greatest comic book movie of all time. This is the same quality as that. That's a very very tough, very tough thing to do. And I don't know if I would label as that. I think the smart thing is one of the best comic movies I've ever seen. Sure, but to label as good or better than the Dark Knight, that's very tough. But yeah, we'll find out. Just watching the phone because you never know what might happen notifications wise, but. Let's pull this up here. The Flash trailer. Where is that? Look at that. You got Dave right there in the corner. Mini player. Oh, I don't want the mini player. Oh, I'm like an old man when it comes to this fiddling around. It's theater mode, right? Yeah, and then a full screen. There we go. Okay, so as usual, there'll be no audio for you guys, and I'll just point out anything cool. And this was what I talked about at the beginning about he's talking about how he lost his parents that shapes him into the man he is, right? And I guess this is happening. We talked about this before that I was unsure how I feel about Keaton having this long hair. First of all, this shot right here, the Batwing dropping down and just like bats coming out. This is fucking great. This looks fantastic. I know some people have some issues with some CGI in these trailers so far, but this looks fantastic. Great shot, very cool. Yeah, this looks very cinematic and it just has such a good updated burn feel. So apparently, like we had said this before, that is Keaton in the hair. There's rumors I've heard that he has a beard as well. I don't know how I feel about that. I just don't want it to look like cheesy or silly or anything like that. But hey, we're gonna go with it, and we'll see what it looks like. This is that shot we've seen before of all the suits. That looks great and stuff. But it's just him talking about how he lost his parents and it formed him, right? And he couldn't, no matter what he did, he can't get them back. Ezra Barry doing this gets his parents. So like, you did that. So I don't think he's gonna be like, hey, do that with my parents. But I thought it was a great trailer move as one being smart to really show he's opening the thing. It's Batman, it's Keaton, it's Bruce Wayne, great. But then what they do transition to, and what the biggest thing is, what Mag has asked my expectations is, yes, I want to be this event. Yes, I'm there for Keaton. All else I'm there for Keaton. That the end of the day, and people might say, well, that's not are you a true movie fan if you're just there for one character? I don't fucking care. It's comic book movies. I'm here to be happy with these. Once I see the film, great. I'll see it as a fan first and then critique it after. But I'm still going to see these people will be seeing this shit and they won't even go see Beau is Afraid because I don't know, it looks so weird. That's fucking, isn't that filmmaking? Is that, I don't know why I'm getting the soapbox here, but I digress. I'm there for Keaton. The rest is all gravy, and hopefully that gravy's good or cherry. But what I do like is this point in the trailer they talk about, I think it's Iris talking to Barry about, man, you've gone, like, your life's been so tough, you've lost your parents in both days. Of course, his mom being killed, and then his dad being kind of framed for that, right, or at least wrongly accused for that. So I thought that was great because hopefully it's not just the first 25 to 30 minutes is touching on Barry's life, and then after that, just the multiverse adventure. I hope that's a through line throughout. If it's done like Flashpoint, it should be. Yes, you end up bumping into a Superman and the Aquaman and Atlantean War, all this stuff. You're not going to get all that from Flashpoint, but it still is always Barry's story at the end of the day, and I hope it sticks that way. So I like this. People talk about maybe some mess CGI. This shot of him running. I don't like the running as usual, but I like what's around it. It looks very, very cool. And then this is what interesting come up here. They show it's some splicing here, right? In this movie, Zod is coming back because of multiverse stuff, right? But if you look, and Barry has his suit, right? But if you look at this shot, it's a little kid, and then right behind it's looking at Barry in a different suit. This looks, because there's been rumors, and I think this confirms it right here. So sorry if you don't want this confirmed, that they're going to show a flashback of Barry on, I think it's like Zero Day or something like that, when Zod came to Earth in the Man of Steel, like Snyderverse timeline. and it was going to show him saving people, which is good because I, as many people, of course, hate Justice League. I hate that he'd never save people. It was just so dumb with the way they set it up. So this looks like he's in a very Tom Holland homemade suit esque sort of just to run around and save people. I don't know how I feel about that. That's fine. If he was there on day zero, cool. He was saving people. I'm wondering how it's going to feel to do this and then bring back Zod later. But it's also setting up that, hey, let's say you've never seen a single film, right? It's setting up that during this like terrorist attack, Barry was saving people, and then look, the same terrorist is back, right? So I think it's good for people that maybe haven't seen Man of Steel ever or in a long time, because some people probably only see it once. Then you got Zod, Michael Shannon, and they're intersplicing the scenes in between to make it look like it's one thing, and it's not. It's one's from the multiverse Burton era, and then one is from the Snyderverse era, right? This was a really great moment of Kara talking to Barry, and she says, do you know what this symbol stands for? And when he goes, oh, it's hope, right? Yeah. That's fantastic because you get that. That's a perfect like time travel sort of thing of that's how you start trusting the character. It informs his past with talking with Superman, stuff like that. He has a history. So really great line. And that's the stuff so far I've trusted with this multiverse stuff. I think it's going to be, they're going to nail that concept of the worlds combined and stuff like that. Here's the line that I feel like people have been back and forth on and everything like that. So we're going to take our first ad break and they'll be right back. Live listeners, you're going to see me disappear for a second. But like I said, just have to check the oven and then we will be right back. And we're back. So yeah, this is the classic Keaton. Well, it's tough. It's the you want to get nuts moment, right? And they put them in the trailer. And again, I've seen a lot of people roll their eyes, go, "Oh my god!" So now, don't get me wrong. I'm sure some people are this way, but the idea of like, "Oh, this is gonna ruin the film," it can be something you don't like. But some people are getting way too serious over this. I will agree because the comparison to me is because I say this to a lot of people where I go, "Hey, look at the William Dafoe. I am a scientist. Something of a scientist myself, right?" It's hard to like that and not like this. It's tough because I gotta wait to see in the trailer or in the actual movie. In the trailer, it just looks like he's standing there saying it. And I think the issue that I'm having is he does the I'm Batman line and then this line. I just wish this was somewhere else. And the thing with the scientist line from Dafoe, it is just like a meme sort of drop, but it also still feels like that's something Dafoe's character would say. As people point out, I don't know, like, I'd be fine if there was a high intensity situation and he said this. The fact that he's just saying it so calmly is like, is this a catchphrase? But hey, if this is Bruce Wayne Byrne versus catchphrase, if he's always saying you want to get nuts, come on, let's get nuts. More power to him. I don't think it feels that natural. It feels very staged. But at the end of the day, it's not gonna bug me too much, and even then it's not even that it bugs me. I have to see it in the context of the film still. But a shot of Keaton without the cowl, looking great, looking fantastic. I love the hair because I think it's a good variation of the old school Bruce. And yeah, I'm excited for this. It's it hasn't really hit me yet that it's happening. It's still just kind of there. But in the film, I think that's going to be more important. And I just think he's gonna kill it. There's this shot which people have memed about like it looking like an AI movie in CGI. There's times it looks like a little rubbery, the movie. Yeah, and I know there's apparently a rumor at Cinemacon they're even seeing like an unfinished version tonight, and they're still working on the FX. But at the end of the day, I don't have a problem with it. It's tough because the only thing I want is on my timeline, what I see a lot of, especially because I feel like I follow a lot of DC people and especially some newer people. It is tough that, you get Thor Ragnarok or Thor Love and Thunder, which has, yeah, definitely some bad effects, but they just take it to task. But then I see people all the time, well, don't judge it till the actual film. It's like, okay, if that's going to take to task, you got to take this to task or choose not to do both. I'm kind of in the wait and see. And then if it stands out in the film, then I'll take it to task. Not the pause and image stuff like that. I get that. But you look at Moon Knight, for example, right? The fucking log truck that's moving around. That's tough. That that's something I go, that just doesn't look the greatest, you know? So they did more shots of Kara and just Barry and stuff, the base and everything. I don't think there's too much more than this. There's one great shot coming up, and this is a great line about they got Batman's Affleck or Batfleck, I guess I don't know what I'm calling that. About talking about how pretty much they're probably talking about time travel and why you shouldn't be going back is because the scars from the past will define who you are. Great line, and I think that's obviously going to be a lesson, and that's kind of a thing that happens, right? In life, things happen, like I talked about today, and that just kind of set you one way of thinking, okay, that's going to change you going forward, and you can't go back, and if you could go back, they'd kind of be cheating the system, right? I know it's point in time travel, but you get some Batflick action right there. Yet clearly, Kara, like, there's another shot that people have taken to task for the CGI, which, yeah, it did look great, but like it doesn't look great, but that's not going to be the be all end all, because a lot of the other stuff does look great. If it was a whole movie looking like that, then I go, oh, but there's just some specific shots, right? This to me was a very awkward shot, and not because CGI, it's Kara holding some beam, and she does like this. She goes to hit, but she stops, then goes to hit again, and she hits Saw in the face. Just a very weird thing that maybe will make sense and feel better in the movie. And the trailer felt very awkward. Very cool moment and this looks like this is the concept art, because if you look, it's Barry and Keaton. They are in that, like, the some sort of sewer or something that looks very similar to the concept art we got when we first confirmed that Keaton was coming back. Bulletproof cape, that's awesome. We get this shot of Flash running as usual. Very cool Batflick shot of him bursting out of some fire, just flipping around. So that's going to be a fun sequence. And then you got this, which is clearly, again, kind of the idea of maybe trying to turn Barry, one of the Barrys, back into the Flash or something. So perfect place for an ad break. Yeah, it was, Chris. Yeah, Ezra with looking like some very CGI abs there. Who knows? They could be real, but just like they look very whatever. And then there's something going on here as far as they're talking about we need to fix this. They keep hiding the villain of it. I won't talk about it again because who knows what people do. There's another villain in here, and I'm wondering if this scene right here when they're talking about needing to fix something, the two Barrys, if one of the Barrys, our new Barry, takes a villainous turn. I don't know. But they're talking about something nobody does. Who knows? I don't know. This shot again, this was a big scuttlebutt last week of I don't like Burton's Batman in the light or whatever, right? I'm fine with it. I actually think it's gonna. Oh, there goes my timer. I think it's actually kind of cool to see in differences. I'm not somebody like, sure, if you were to say, Travis, would you want a Batman movie let's say you can only choose one setting, in the night or the dark, or sorry, in the night or the daytime? Sure, I'm gonna pick the nighttime because that's Batman. But I like seeing it out of context, or like in a different context. I like that Burton's Batman has primarily just been in the dark. He's gonna be in the dark again here. Sure, for one sequence in the daytime, that's fine with me. I guess it's because I'm a kid that I've read comic books with him in the daytime. I grew up with the fucking Justice League cartoon where he was in the daytime a lot. So this whole thing like, oh, Batman in the daytime looks really weird. I think that's kind of the point. I think that's kind of the fun of it. But hey, if people don't like it, then they don't like it. That's fine. I'm wondering why he's falling to his knees here and what's going on. That's going to be very interesting. So... And then this shot, this is fantastic. And this is very similar like No Way Home, where we're going to be getting, presumably, I think it's going to be Zod. Maybe I know he has like Flora and some other buddies with them. But if we're getting like a Michael versus Michael Shannon Zod versus Keaton's Batman for a moment, that's fantastic. That's stuff where it's just like, oh, he even hits the Batwing as he's falling down, like the tail of it. Like he falls out, hits it. But... such a fucking cool shot. Like when it's going down, the Batwing's falling behind him and he has his cape up. That's just fun shit. That's like dream roster, like when you have dream matches in WWE, or if you say, if this boxer could have fought this boxer. With comic books, you get to do that because it's acting and multiverse stuff. So I'm very excited to see that go down. I think it's going to be a good time. And this right here is fucking such a cool transition. It's all the logos. It's Keaton's logo, Superman, Supergirl's logo, Affleck's logo, and then the Flash logo into the film's logo. Fantastic. I think that's, again, it really sets up the event feel. And then it's just them talking about their parachutes and whatnot. And again, lots of cool keen shots. It's pretty much doing another cape shot to have it like the Batman 89, but it's fine. I love all this stuff. All the keen content looks fantastic. So yeah, I can't wait. I think it's going to be a good time. And we'll see. June 16th, not that far away. We're going to get screened tonight for critics, see what they think about it. And yeah, we'll go from there. Speaking of, I'll pull up my notes here. The Warner Brothers panel for the rest of it didn't really do much else. They had even said, like I said, oh, we're going to be talking about the 10 years. That didn't really happen. And then they talked about Aquaman. What was the plot description here? Oh, excuse me. They confirmed, we had talked about this a long time ago, they confirmed that rumor that Aquaman's going to be having a child, so that's cool and whatnot. People were saying it was looking wild. Some people even said epic, like that grand scope and everything like that. And then they confirmed that's like a buddy comedy, not buddy, but a buddy duo movie with Arthur and Orm and stuff like that. And I think it's like Black Mantis has this thing called the Black Trident, and that's going to take down Atlantis in the world. And so they showed it off. I know a bunch of scoopers again came out today like, oh boy, like hearing bad things about this. I get it. I just still cannot believe for the life of me that's going to be worse than Suicide Squad, the 2016 version one. There's no fucking way for the DCU. And you guys know how I feel about Suicide Squad, that I think it is like a top 10 worst comic book movie of all time, maybe top 5. It's up there, right? So there's no way you're telling me that it's worse than Aquaman. The thing that is interesting though, and I haven't had this confirmed, so if I'm wrong, then you can tell me and I'll, not trash totally. But I swear I've seen multiple people say this on Twitter. Let's just fact check it, okay? I will fact check it. What I had seen, which is definitely not a good sign, right? Because there had been rumors of that, hey, they're doing lots of reshoots, and lots of these reshoots don't feature James Wan. And that is not a good thing, especially because he just did that deal with, I think it was Blumhouse. He's going back to horror, doing a bunch of stuff. So, Creepy Puppet. So, here's the thing where, what is it? Insidious? I don't know. People were saying maybe it was on an Instagram story, because this was, 6 days ago? Because people were saying, oh, he hasn't shared much about Aquaman and stuff like that. With Insidious, like, it didn't even look like he posted much. With Insidious, it's like, that just dropped a trailer. Like, I don't know. If he, but it was a successful film because of BBC off. What is BBC? That stands for something else there, Heinz. You gotta be careful though, Yes, Heinz, it was, as you and Ray have talked about before. It was financial, yes, but so were Transformers. And I get it. People went out to see it. So clearly lots of other people did not think the same thing. For me, just a personal choice. Suicide Squad, woof, And again, I feel fucking validated now that directors come on and said, yeah, they hacked the shit that's in my film. I don't actually have that much interest in the Ayer cut. I know that's been one thing where I always said about the Snyder cut of like, eventually I really started to believe it. At first, like, okay. And then I believed the idea of like what people said, there could be a cut, but it's not made. I always said, you can go on record that, hey, if it was true, I want to see, just out of curiosity, end up loving it. Ayer cut sure could be better than what we have now, but I just, like, when his main point is you get to see more Jared Leto Joker, like one of his main points, right? That does nothing for me. And maybe it'll happen one day. We'll see. That's a long time away, I think, for the DCU to get going first. But, I'm going to wait till a trailer comes out, everything, because even The Nun, that happened, and he didn't post stuff about that at Cinemacon. So if the movie's coming out and James Wan isn't talking much about it, then it's like, okay, there is a red flag. But I don't think so yet. There's lots of time still. And if those reshoot rumors are true, that sucks. And of course, maybe he would want to be less a part of it, but he still probably has to promote it contractually. So that got a big showcase. Chris Box says, do you think The Flash goes No Way Home box office? June is packed with films. That's the tough thing. I think, honestly, this is always the cop-out answer we give nowadays, but I think it is. Again, Chris would know this, like we talked about tomorrow. It's definitely dependent on the second weekend, right? The first weekend will come and make a bunch of money, unless the first weekend's like Endgame, where didn't Endgame make, I can't remember, in the first weekend it was almost like $1 billion by the first weekend was done. It's not going to do that, but if it does some huge mega, like top 10 opening weekends of all time. Let's see that. All time. Okay. Sorry, I'm killing air. Okay, no, I don't need the total gross. Come on, box office mode. Get out of here. Here we go. Biggest opening weekend at a box office. Let's just go with the top 10 here, okay? You got Endgame, No Way Home, Infinity War, Force Awakens, Last Jedi, Jurassic World, The Avengers, Black Panther, Lion King, and Avengers Age of Ultron. Age of Ultron's at 191, same as Lion King. The rest are all 200 and up. I don't see, it's crazy that No Way Home did more than Infinity War. That's crazy. I don't see it being 191. The hope is that it has a great weekend and that second weekend's really good because of word of mouth, right? But we've seen, and I think another thing that's going to be a big pointer is Guardians, because there's this scuttlebutt lately we're going to talk about news that, hey, the tracking's not as good as they'd want it to be. So if that doesn't do the greatest, then we can actually start talking about the superhero fatigue. Like, you know what? Maybe it has. I don't think they will go away, but it's just like now they're going to be capped. The idea of them being the top dogs and the number $1 billion films, no. So I don't see it like even cracking the top 20, because top 20 is like 160. I don't know, 140 to 50. That seems possible to me, but and then you got Indiana Jones, and the same thing with Indy, same thing with Spider-Verse. I've seen so many people, because I can't remember what account tweeted out like, what do you think is going to be the number one movie this summer? And it was for money wise. People keep like, I saw so many Spider-Verse tweets. It's like, no, but maybe there's a surprise, right? I think it's really dependent on two things. I think one, sure, the quality movie, but it is that second week, because it is, okay, is it in the middle, or are we caught in the middle? Is there superhero fatigue? And two, how good is Indiana Jones? Because Indiana Jones could like steal that thunder really fast, that lightning really fast, right? So I can't guarantee it's $1 billion. I think that has a shot, but it won't go the same box office. Even if it was not that, I still don't think it'd be as big as No Way Home, because sure, they're advertising Keaton, but pretty much everyone know about Toby and Andrew and whatnot, and you already had the other characters, right? So what else? So Aquaman, yeah, we'll see. I'll still be excited to see it. I like the first Aquaman quite a bit. We'll see, and I'll judge it for myself when we get there. And they might still change a bunch of shit in reshoots, right? They show off the Meg 2, which Taylor might be disappointed that I don't know if I'll review this one go around. You know, I got a life. I got even more of a life now. You know, it's tough to get out there for the Meg. They announced Conjuring, The Last Rites, which, you know, super bad. Mike in our Discord, go join the Discord down below. He made a good point, because it's like, oh, it says Last Rites. This means it's probably last one. And he said, I've seen a lot of last of horror films, and they weren't the ones. That's very true. I think I mean kind of in this realm of with these characters, but who knows? 10 years from now, they get the band back together. But yeah, it's Last Rites. They didn't say much about the plot or anything like that. Just, hey, that it's this, we're making a fourth one. And it makes sense, I guess. The first two were successful. The third one obviously came out in COVID. So we didn't get know how well it did, but obviously well enough that they feel it's good enough. They got The Nun coming out. They talked about, apparently showed a trailer today and said it was possibly the scariest movie of the Conjuring universe. Let me take a look here. Let's take a look and see who directed The Nun 2, because maybe that'll give me some credence. There's no way, in my opinion, that you're gonna ever top the first Conjuring. I'm sorry. There's just, in my mind, it can't happen. Michael Shaves. So let's see what this man directed, or this person. I don't know. Oh, Storm Reed's in there. There you go. That's good. There's some good people. Okay, so he did The Devil Made Me Do It. Oh, Curse of La Llorona. So here's the thing, like, he's trying to some stuff that I've liked, so that actually gets me very much more excited for The Nun, because The Nun to me was the worst one out of that whole bunch for the Conjuring universe. But I like them. Scariest movie. Hopefully it is. I don't know how scary it is, because we fucking know how to beat the villain now, but that's okay. And our main character should, and just spread that around, but apparently not. So you got that announced. There was just some stuff with Barbie, so you got that going on. So yeah, there wasn't much today, unfortunately, with the panel. They didn't continue. Blue Beetle, just this was someone that people have been memeing on this. I'm gonna leave the guy alone. The star of Blue Beetle said, Blue Beetle's unique because I think he's the only person to ever get superpowers and not want them. And when you go discussing film, like the entire thread, it's just like character after character of that. Again, and they... I'm not trying to rain on parade. Clay, if you're listening to this, don't be mad at me. But that's my worry with that, is when they say things like that, or they say things that are, you know, this film, you know what makes it different? It's about family. And they did that again today. And it's just like, that's not different anymore. That's not a thing. So this whole thing of like a guy with no powers that didn't want him, and a guy with a family, like Guardians, Shazam, like families all around, X-Men, the Hulk, like there's all these characters with these same things, and that's where superhero fatigue might like. Here's the thing: we've talked about this before. I always said, and I still think, Guardians gonna be fine. I think it's gonna be fine. There's people saying this stuff about the tracking. I think word of mouth will help it, but if the tracking is, as I've said before, with Guardians, I think the what is it? I think the second one was like 146 or something. In my mind, now that we're pretty much out of a COVID world and we've gone a couple $1 billion films and stuff like that, to me, this film should be opening higher than Guardians 2. If it doesn't, it is a slight disappointment. Doesn't make it a failure or flop, but to me, it's a little underwhelming. If it comes in like and I'll repeating my thoughts for Thursday. If it comes in on like the 100 or sorry, like, yeah, 100 to 120, 130, to me, that's even a little more disappointing. Maybe a high 130, no, but let's say 100 to 120. If it gets somewhere near that first Guardians open at like 90, which I don't think it will, then there could be an issue. So this is the thing of if Flash is a second big drop and Guardians doesn't do as well as they hoped, then Blue Beetle's in fucking trouble. Because I think to me, it was always like, well, Guardians and Flash will come up and help Blue Beetle, like will help everything. And then Blue Beetle could hopefully recover with some of that superhero like refreshness, right? If those two have fatigue or have like a lesser then for sure Blue Beetle's not going to do the greatest. And same thing goes for Aquaman, right? We might be living in a world, like I said, where it's your main event people and your very different films like a Joker or the Batman, stuff like that with different vibes, right? Spider-Verse, the jury's out on that one. I don't really count superhero fatigue with that because that came out in the height of the superhero golden era as far as box office, and it still just made like 400 million. I think that is a more family friendly sort of, how does that go against more about animated films than it does superhero films, but still, it is another one that adds to the pile. But yeah, they talked about Barbie. There's some fun stuff there. I got to get that from the director, Greta Gerwig shirt. That looks fantastic. So, yeah, I'm excited to see what happens with the Flash panel or screening a little bit. I was hoping we might get like a director or two for one of the DC movies, but we didn't. But alas, here we are. So, let's take another ad break, and then we'll be back with some of Sony's and really just the Kraven news. So, yeah, we'll be right back with some Kraven. And we're back. Let me take a look. I got some water in here. Okay. Sorry, I didn't take a water break during the ad break. I apologize. Running the clock today. So, now it's some stuff yesterday. Pretty much all this segment is about. It's about Kraven. Okay. So, Kraven, they showed a trailer. People liked it. Says very bloody, very gory, high intense action, stuff like that. And this is the big thing, rated R. And I talked about this. Brent in our GOA chat made this point, and we talked about this on our GV Discord. I get it, but I feel like there's a lot of people celebrating because it's rated R, and that means it's good. That's great to hear. Well, sure, that's great to hear because, it could be something different. They're taking a chance. And sure, is it just bloody and whatnot because of the violence and stuff? I don't know if that's going to happen, but the jury to me is out on this one. I still don't think Kraven's a good idea to do. And for me, if you're looking at, if you're looking at the box office, you had Venom, big hit, Venom 2, a hit, Morbius, disappointment, maybe bomb, you could argue, right? Looking at the budget, maybe barely made back its money. Kraven to me is worse than Morbius, and you're going to make a rated R. You got to really hope the word of mouth is very, very, very strong on this movie, and maybe it is. I think they're sacrificing, a good movie for box office, which of course, someone's going to be like, well, Travis, shouldn't they want that? Or shouldn't you want that? Aren't you a film fan? Of course, yeah. I'm looking for me personally, great. For them as a business, that's an interesting choice to let Kraven go rated R. But maybe they're keeping the budget at like a relatively state. But yeah, they said that he wears the classic costume. The tagline was like, no one survives the hunt or something like that. There's apparently a scene where he like bites a guy's nose off and spits it in the camera. It sounds very similar to Venom. Now, I think some of that intentional cheese in Venom in the first one, some of it worked. For a lot of people, it all worked. For me, it was maybe not the best. This sounds like it's probably going to go down that route again. And We'll see. I don't know. It's like I said, I'm not excited. I'll see the trailer, but it's just the track record, and it's also the track record of look at Morbius and Sony just cutting the shit of that film. I'm not saying that there was a good film in there and they screwed over. No, but what I am saying is you don't know if they get cold feet and got to change this, this, and this, but it sounded intriguing, at least the footage being shown. You know, it sounds like, okay, this is interesting. The rated R is just a pure of, hey, I don't think from a business standpoint this is a good idea, but hey, that's not my job, right? Like my job's to now talk about this or whatever it may be. My job's not to worry about numbers. It's just when I look, I go, what are they doing here? But hopefully it's good. And I would love that, even if it, which would suck if it bombs and it's great because then we couldn't get more Kraven. But I don't like the idea of the Sony verse. I don't like the idea of these single films and stuff. But I'm wanting to just want to like one. And same thing with Morbius. I think I gave it a 5. I didn't necessarily like it. I just didn't think it was as bad as people said, but I'm willing to give it a shot. I just think that it being rated R and bloody, that doesn't mean it's going to be good. That could just be like every generic action movie, right? And the big thing that is very exciting is, and Kraven does this with potions, so that it's not like it's a big reach and you can do this with characters, but apparently he fights a man at some point and he says like, this is why they call me the Rhino or something. And he takes a potion and turns into Rhino. So Rhino's in this, and that's awesome. But that's my worry again, where it's just, hey, Rhino's here, and it's rated R, and it's blood. None of this stuff that people were getting excited. And of course get excited. But like, none of this stuff convinced me, you know, and I will give, before we end this, the video portion, audio listeners, you'll get more. Before we end this portion, I will try and give Patron Clay, the benefit of the doubt, because he said he was a cool director, something like that, so that got him excited, and maybe that'll help. Let me take a look here. Chasey Chander. I thought I remember seeing something about this guy. Let's see. That sucks. The first picture it's like of a trailer pause, and it's Kevin Spacey. Okay, so let's see. Let's get rid of that. So directing. So he has directed A Most Violent Year, which was good, but then he also directed Triple Frontier. Oh man, he got to direct Robert Redfield's last film, All's Lost. So yeah, it isn't. So that does give me some hope. It is actually like some better names there. It's no one like, and not this was happening, but it's like Ari Aster is directing Kraven. There's no one that right away I go, man, this gets me super excited. So all of it is like bubbling excitement. All of it is the wait and see. Where Morbius right away didn't look good, and I haven't seen a trailer, right? I just think that what I see is a lot of positivity, which is good. Keep it up. I'm not telling people not to be positive. I'm just saying, just watch those expectations, and maybe we get a bloody, gory, good time, you know? So we'll see. As I said, for the video listeners, I'm going to be ending it here. You can check out the rest more on the GeekVerse feed. It'll be there because I already recorded and stuff like that. Soon I'll get back to doing the full episodes in video. It's just kind of the way life is, and today was a bit more of a hectic as obviously. So thank you for who watched on the live feeds.